It's not perfect, but you'll get the idea.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 things Tetris got factually right and wrong.
It's just a video game.
To you, yes. But to the men in power, it is a slippery slope from selling one game to selling all of Russia to the highest bidder.
For this list, we're looking at the accuracies and inaccuracies in the 2023 movie Tetris. Be warned, there are spoilers ahead. Let us know in the comments what your favorite classic video game is. Number 10, the Tetris Effect. Right.
Tetris. I don't get it.
It's a combination of tetra, Greek for four, all the game's pieces are variants of four, and tennis.
At the beginning of the movie, as Hank tries to pitch Tetris to a bank manager, he talks about how he only played it for a few minutes, but has been seeing the blocks when he tries to sleep.
I played Tetris for 5 minutes. Yeah. I still see falling blocks in my dreams.
This is a well-known phenomenon, the Tetris Effect. So prominent that a modern version of Tetris from 2018 was even named after it. And if you've ever played Tetris, which you almost certainly have as it's one of the most popular games of all time, you've probably experienced this yourself.
This game isn't just addictive, it stays with you. It's poetry, art, and math all working in magical synchronicity.
Once you start arranging those tetrominos into neat rows, you just can't shake the game's addictive nature. Number 9, Las Vegas. Right.
You've already made the incredibly smart decision to skip the casinos where the odds are stacked against you and come to the place where you can't lose.
Hank stumbling across Tetris while at the Winter Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas really is how he discovered the game. In the movie, we see his sales assistant is more interested in playing Tetris than trying to hawk his computer version of the popular Asian board game Go.
Step right up and be the first to experience the world's next big hit. Come try Go, Asia's favorite game.
Hank intervenes, but sees Tetris's potential for himself, launching the battle for the rights in the West because it was just that compelling.
Relax, Hank. This game is swell. What's it called?
Tetris.
It's strange to imagine now that there was a time before Tetris, the iconic and deceptively complex puzzle game. Would you have seen its potential if you'd been there that fateful day? Number 8, Akemi. Wrong. The battle for Tetris heats up so much that back in Tokyo, Hank's wife Akemi finds herself threatened by Russian government agents, sent by the Soviet embassy in Japan.
Akemi Rogers. We are from Russian embassy in Tokyo.
It doesn't look like anything like this ever happened, however.
Do you know where your husband is? Has your husband called?
Nobody ever tried to scare Akemi Rogers into making her husband drop his pursuit of Tetris. It's also not clear how much strain Hank's pursuit of Tetris put on his family, as in the movie it becomes a major issue.
Hank, some Russians came into the office threatening me to tell you to come home.
What?
But Tetris actually remains a family business today somewhat, as Hank's daughter Maya Rogers, who is seen in the movie as well, is now the CEO of the Tetris company.
Maya? What do you think?
面白い。これ、もらっていい?
Become a WatchMojo channel member and get exclusive perks like Mojo emojis, loyalty badges, priority comment replies, and exclusive members-only content, including live list rankings with the Mojo staff and peeks behind the scenes. Don't miss out. Number 7, the Maxwells. Right. If anyone can be said to be the true villains in Tetris, it may not be the shady Soviet operatives, but the Maxwells, Robert and his son Kevin.
Mr. Rogers, what a pleasant surprise. Robert Maxwell, chairman of the Mirror Group.
The Maxwells are rude, belligerent, and think money will get them anything they want. Not so when it comes to dealing with the Soviets. And in real life, not only were they likely just as unpleasant, getting caught up in a high-profile pension embezzlement scandal in the late 90s, but they also tried and failed to secure Tetris's distribution rights.
What the hell is going on?
Spring cleaning is all. Shredding redundant balance sheets we have made for our auditors.
Their dealings with the equally slimy Robert Stein are also likely true to life, as it was Stein who erroneously thought he had secured the rights for computers and home consoles.
And Mr. Trifonov, Kevin, does not need to know about any of this.
Number 6. The fall of the USSR. Wrong.
Всю свою жизнь я посвятил моей стране. Я не могу больше этого делать. Такой страны больше нет.
In the movie, everybody wanted to get the rights to Tetris before the looming collapse of the Soviet Union ensured it would be even harder to wrangle the correct documents from Alorg, the government organization that technically owned it.
Послушайте, я веду переговоры в интересах нашей страны.
Охранять государственную собственность и принимать решения – это наша ответственность.
But this was all heavily dramatized for the movie. Yes, the USSR did eventually collapse in 1991, and the Tetris licensing battle did happen just before this, but there wasn't the last-minute panic.
О судьбе Советского Союза буду беспокоиться я, а вы занимаетесь непосредственно своей работой.
Of course, it makes for a more interesting movie to have absolutely everything and everyone working against Hank, Alexei, and even Nintendo. And it adds to the satisfaction when Alexei finally gets a Game Boy from America.
Тебе посылка от Хэнка.
Number 5. Mikhail Gorbachev. Right. Throughout the movie, Robert Maxwell repeatedly asserts that he's good friends with Mikhail Gorbachev, the final leader of the Soviet Union.
Gentlemen, welcome. Apologies, but I am gaining weight and need new suit for today's celebration.
He even travels to Russia personally to talk to Gorbachev, in an attempt to warn him that the USSR is about to collapse while strong-arming him into granting Microsoft Tetris's worldwide rights.
In fact, he's just offered your people $5 million US.
And?
And if this deal goes through, it will set a dangerous precedent.
And what is that?
Gorbachev, however, wasn't one to kowtow to the demands of a rude British billionaire, and refuses to use his influence to force Alorg to give the Maxwells the Tetris rights.
So you are here to save my country.
Once you let capitalists through your gates, they will never leave.
And what are you?
This is, in fact, largely true. The Maxwells did try to get Gorbachev himself to intervene, and they still didn't get the publishing rights. Number 4. Nintendo. Right.
Not bad.
Really?
もしできへんようなら50万ドルで買い取らせてもらうわ。
We'd buy you out for 500,000.
In the 1980s, the rivalry between Nintendo and Atari was fraught as ever, with matters made worse by various backroom deals, all depicted in the movie, threatening to give Atari Tetris's distribution rights instead.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, Eddie. Nintendo was letting me become a publisher. Nintendo! It's a license to print money!
Hank works closely with Nintendo, so close that they even show him a prototype Game Boy before the product is publicly announced. We don't know if Hank Rogers was shown a Game Boy, but Nintendo's stake in Tetris is true to life, and it was the major publisher of the title for years.
8-bit graphics?
Yes.
And yes, Nintendo was accused by Belikov of publishing Tetris illegally because of some contractual misunderstandings. Number 3. Honey Trap. Wrong. The first friendly face Hank meets when he arrives in Moscow is Sasha, the put-upon and slightly eccentric Russian translator.
You're in need of succor?
Excuse me?
Succor? Noun. Assistance in times of stress. Synonymous with help.
She initially seems like she's Hank's ally in the bid to negotiate with Belikov, but that's not the case.
This is Sasha, my translator.
Здравствуйте. Меня зовут Саша. Я переводчик.
Eventually, she arrives at Hank's hotel room to warn him that he's a threat to the Soviet Union and to seduce him. It turns out that he's the victim of a honey trap.
They searched my apartment too.
But I don't get it. I'm trying to help you guys. Why am I a threat?
Luckily, Hank being a family man dedicated to his wife and children, he doesn't fall for it. Though Sasha returns in a more antagonistic role later on in the movie, still trying to stop Hank from getting what he wants with Tetris.
I'm married.
Number 2. Best friends. Right.
Знакомьтесь, это Алексей Пажетнов, создатель
Hank, this is
Тетриса.
Alexei Pajitnov, the inventor of Tetris.
Were Hank Rogers and Alexei Pajitnov really friends? Yes, they really did meet in the 1980s when Hank traveled to Moscow to try and secure the rights.
Mr. Rogers, I do not have right to receive money from my game.
Well, that's criminal.
In the movie, their budding friendship is a little strained, with Pagitnov perpetually paranoid that somebody is listening in or following them.
It's always been bugging me. Why can't both lines disappear at once instead of one at a time?
Because I never thought of that.
But eventually, Alexei took Hank to see the real Moscow. And as we see right at the end, Alexei did come to America after the fall of the Iron Curtain, with Hank helping facilitate his move to Seattle. Together, they formed the Tetris Company in the mid-90s. And finally, Pagitnov could profit from the video game he created once Nintendo's rights expired.
Welcome to our new home, buddy. Is now a good time for American emotion?
Number 1. Car chase. Wrong. Possibly the most talked about scene in the whole film because of its absurdity, the climax sees Hank, Alexei, and 2 Nintendo executives in an all-out car chase through 1980s Moscow while holding out for a hero plays. It's just about the most 80s thing you could imagine, and it absolutely did not happen in real life. There was no rush to the airport to escape the KGB, and they definitely didn't almost crash into a semi in a narrow alleyway.
We can make it! There's no room! Do you trust me?
The real-life Rogers and Pagitnov said that while they did give suggestions to make the script more accurate when it strayed into more Hollywood territory, they let the filmmakers do their own thing. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.